I'm not exactly sure. It was very worrying because due to his assistant, Isla, said that this was very out of character for him, and he said he'd be back in a short amount of time, and he'd been gone for most of the day. She had thought that he was with you guys, so I'd split up and start looking for him. Um, and you discovered that his house was being broken into. You managed to talk down the guys breaking into his house, though, and they said that they were there to steal papers and research. They didn't know much more about it. They seemed not to know much about it, actually. They seemed to be kind of low level, probably low level hired goons, people who just were kind of desperate and trying to feed their families. And so you all kindly let them go after questioning them and realizing that that's all that you could get out of them. When one of them started talking too much, you discovered that he was unable to speak too much about the person who had hired them, who all you were able to ascertain from that was that it was a woman and that she had the ability to talk to people in their minds. But he wasn't able to say much more. He got apparently in excruciating mental pain when he tried to talk more. So you all gave him a couple of silver, sent them on their way, realizing that they kind of were not really part of this, probably. And you went to a couple of houses and a barn to talk to people to see if they had seen Dr. Way, and stumbled in on a young couple having a little bit of a little bit of a tryst, but did get some good information from them, the best information from them actually, or at least from the guy, and realized that Professor Way walked away without acknowledging him. He's usually pretty friendly and speaks. And it was theorized by Phineas that he might have been bewitched or something to that effect, but this guy saw him walk away. You all, and this was after you all broke into his house, I think. I didn't say that. And searched for anything you could find. Phineas broke out the windows, much to the chagrin of Toren. And you all were able to find a journal entry and a makeshift map that was quickly copied down. And you all were also able to tell by the state of his house, the crackling fire, the excited dog, food on the table, that something was probably wrong, that he left without, let's say, wanting to be gone for long. Okay, so after that, you all went back to town to report your findings and spoke to Isla. She was organizing search parties. She organized you all into a third search party. And after comparing the map and kind of comparing like where he thought he was going to go and comparing her map, you decided to focus your search on an area. You eventually found his tracks and it led you to a cave where you looked around. You found like a broken cart and some debris and a patch with a C on it, with a dot in the middle, some type of weird logo. And you were soon attacked by a giant wasp, a queen bee per se. So the queen wasp, her companion was killed rather quickly, but she raised her scepter over her head and seemed to be maybe doing something. Not sure what she was doing. All right, so we are going to move to... We're going to start an initiative. I'm going to go ahead and give you back there we go. I'm going to give you the, 1 second. Towards... Oh, someone else had it. I never took it. Oh, I never took it off of you from last time. Okay, so you already have it. Cool. All right, so we were at the top. Give me one more second. Did I forget anything? I don't think I did.
No, you got it. We're back at the top of the round.
Okay. 1 second, I need to find my cave ambiance. Where is my cave ambiance? You know what? Let's use the same one. Here we go. One. Kirby bot. Oh, I didn't see you had said that in chat. Okay, cool. All right, let's go. So we are at Ramune.
I am going to attempt to. Can I ascertain that scepter, based on her reaction when I hit it with my bow, that it seems to hold some sort of importance with her as she was using it to cast something? I'd like to try to take it away.
Okay. Yeah, you can try to take it away. You can't really tell.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is, but I'm going up. The way that she reacted with it, because I have no idea what it is, but the way she reacted when I hit it, and then she started to use it, I'm seeing it as it's something of importance. And the way Ramune's thinking here is like, well, if I can get that, maybe I can stop her by having it, and we can try to talk things out.
Okay. Go ahead and try to grab it from her, and let's do a contested strain.
Okay. Straight up strength.
Yeah, straight up. Well, with your modifier, but yeah. Oh, that's not. Is it a negative modifier?
It's a -1.
Oh no. Okay.
That's
This
okay.
might be worse. You never know.
All right, straight up strength check. Hey, a 17. That ain't too bad.
Okay, she's going to do a save. And yeah, okay, so you reach up and you manage to catch her by surprise and wrench it out of her hand. And you got it.
Then I'm going to say, stop this. Let's talk, no fight.
Okay.
And that will end my turn.
Okay. Phineas?
I'm gonna bonk you on the head.
Okay.
Non-lethally.
Non-lethal? Okay. Okay, yep, hits. Obviously. That was a 16. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. You see her eyes kind of glaze over like she's seeing stars. But she's still conscious. Toren.
That's you, Juno.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking I'll do a... Alright. I guess I'll give a party input. Do you think Toren should be holding his action or anything? Or should he be trying to incapacitate the wasp?
I think, based on past occurrences, he'd want to try to grab her and throw her over his shoulder.
Fair. I would say maybe he would see the efforts by Ramune and maybe hold his action till after they played out.
All right, Phineas, what's your take?
I don't care. Either or sounds fine.
All right, I'm going to hold the action for now, and I'll probably do it closer to my turn then.
Okay, what's the action?
The queens, yeah.
What's the action?
If she's being hostile, he'll try to restrain her or incapacitate her.
Okay, so grapple?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Alright. Cypress.
Cypress will also hold an attack action, or no, actually no, he'll actually pass on his turn to see how the negotiations resolve out, even though it doesn't seem like there's a hugely good chance. He wants to give it the best shot that it can, so he'll just pass for now.
Okay. Irene.
Alright, so with Ramune's input, I'm going to put my hand in front of Phineas. That's kind of like a slow it down there, buddy. And I'll look at the Queen and say, this doesn't need to get any worse. Let's talk, let's unwind. What's your purpose here? What's happening? And so I'd use my action to, facilitate that diplomacy.
Okay. Okay. It is now on the Queen. She looks at Ramune, who just took her scepter, and she says, No talk. And she goes to grab her scepter back. So she's going to try to grab it from you.
So I think I got to make a strength save.
Yes. Do strength
I'm
save.
really good at strengths.
Okay. Okay.
Easy come, easy go.
She grabs it back from you, and she starts to raise it over her head. And this is going to be her action. And she swings it over her head. I'm going to consider this a hostile action, Toren, if you want to try to do your thing. She's swinging it over her head, continuing to do what she was doing earlier. So go ahead and approach her to grapple. Okay. And she will save. See if she can save out of that. Okay. So you go to grab her, and she just barely wrenches herself away. Not easily, but kind of pulls away, and you don't get control of her. And that's going to be her turn. You hear in the background a buzzing that's steadily getting louder and louder and louder as she kind of slowly circles the scepter over her head.
All right. I'm going to make an attempt to try to grab it again. But this time I'm going to break it. If I can actually try to get it, which I might have to wait till my next turn to try to break it.
Yeah, next turn. No, next turn. But you can still move if you want to when you grab it.
But yeah, let's do it. Here we go, strength.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Ramune is very thrown off after her saying no, and he is bothered by the fact that he might not be able to resolve this in a non-lethal manner.
Yeah, and this time she's ready for the grab, and you do get a hold of it though, and it's actually a bit of a tugging match. She only rolled a 3. It's a bit of a tugging match, but she grabs it away. You don't get it, and she raises it back over her head again.
All right.
All right, Phineas.
I will swing again non-lethally.
Okay. All right. Yep. Hits. And...
I'll be like, what are you guys doing? Just fucking hit her. She's barely verbal and fucking very hostile. You guys stupid or something? Then I'll end my turn.
Okay. Toren.
So Toren is going to try and do incapacitation, non-lethal attacking. I guess he'll back up just a smidge, so he can get a clear shot on his longbow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it manages because she's kind of flying, well, she's hovering, but she's not like still. She's not a grounded target. It's a little bit harder for you to hit, and the arrow like grazes her, but it doesn't really do any damage. Kind of like on her side, and it doesn't hit her.
All right. Yeah, that's Toren, I guess.
Okay, Cypress.
Yeah, let's seeing that maybe the negotiations aren't going to work out. The bee isn't willing. In fact, Cypress has never had a successful negotiation with a bee in his life.
Right.
So he's going to throw a magic stone at it.
Okay. Yep, hits. Okay.
And he's gonna move a little bit, and that's his turn.
Okay. You hear the kind of the buzzing sound that's coming from her become more and more erratic. And she's like, there's always been a hum. And she's starting to like become, it's just sounding a little bit more forced and aggressive as she goes. She's taking the scepter and she's raising it higher above her head. And okay, Irene.
Okay, so seeing negotiations break down, I'm going to grab my hammer. I have a sword, but the hammer is just special. I need to redeem that nat one. And I'm going to try and give her a good old bonk. A classic bonk on the head. I sure don't, okay.
Extremely classic.
Okay.
Yeah, classic Irene. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, it does not hit. Okay.
Alright, yep.
All right. We are going to go back to her. Give me just a second. Okay. So the buzzing sound is reaching pretty much sounds like what is a beaver pitch. And you see coming from like a kind of like a whole, you see a couple of other wasps come in. And however, they are sitting here. I'm going to go ahead and add them to the turn order. Okay. All right, Ramune.
I am going to draw my short swords. I can't remember if I had them drawn before or not. Either way, if I have my longbow, I'm dropping my longbow and I'm drawing my short swords. And I'm going to go ahead and make several attacks toward her.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay, swing and hit.
Missing after my first attack forward, I follow up, determined to try to at least land something, as Ramune's a bit frustrated on what actions might have to get taken in order to take down this individual.
So, yeah, so she is looking bad. And she also is But the good news is that and the even better news is that she doesn't appear to be trying to use her scepter. She's lowered it again, and it's at her side. Phineas.
Non-lethally swing again.
Okay. All right, that is a hit, and so Phineas has just had enough of this. Is it lethal or non-lethal?
I said non-lethal.
Non-lethal. Okay. Phineas has just had enough of this, and he takes his long sword and takes kind of the thought of it and bangs her on the head, and you hear like kind of like you would expect, like maybe some type of machine to go out, and she slumps to the ground. Her scepter rolls next to her. She is down. It is lights out. She is alive, but she is unconscious.
Can I pick up the scepter?
Yeah, you can pick up the scepter, and that'll be the end of your turn.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, this guy is going to go to Phineas. Actually, Cypress is the first one he sees. He is going to attack with his stinger. And let's do this right. His stinger misses. And that's going to be his turn. Toren.
Alright, so Toren seeing this. 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to give Cypress some ranged support with his bow.
Okay, does that hit? Yep, hits.
Alright, so he'll just plug an arrow and then kind of duck back in, kind of keep an eye on the whole situation, and yeah, that's that.
Okay, yeah, you just skewer this thing. I mean, it just still up, but doesn't look great. All right, Cypress.
Cypress is ducking and weaving to dodge this giant wasp, and as he's doing that, he notices himself not to start to feel a little weird, and the extreme threat is causing him to actually transform. And when he looks, I just lead myself off the thing.
Oh, I'll put you back. No problem. Let me put you back on the screen. Oh, I can see your other form.
Oh, yeah. I meant to. I guess it'll. Yeah, if I delete that token, it just takes me out of the. That's weird.
So can you attack with that?
Yeah, it's a bonus action to shape, and then I would attack with my action.
Yeah, I mean, are you able to mechanically attack with it?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, cool. And tell the group what exactly do they see?
They see. Oh, I can't see myself anymore again for some reason. I lost the map. I can't.
Okay, let me go ahead. Yeah, because of the dark vision. I didn't consider that. Okay, so let me give you dark vision, real quick.
Oh, all right.
And there we go. You should be able to see now. Oh, you know what? No, that's not the problem. The problem has sight. I don't know if bears have dark vision. Probably not.
They do not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't.
Okay, I'm taking that away. Sorry. But you should have sight. So.
Yeah, I do have sight.
Cool.
Sight.
Okay.
And it's also technically large, but I'm not sure how to do that on my own.
Okay, so I can. You know, I feel like this is giant. Or no, that's large.
Yeah, that's large.
That's large.
Giant, yeah. Giant would be the 3x3, which was which is huge on the on roll 20 sometimes. Like it's
Yeah.
I mean.
It is, right? Okay, got it.
All right, and then I'm going to attack the bee. And yeah, there you see Cypress wild shape into a bear, as he is a druid.
Yep. Huge bite right into that wasp. And yeah, it is so down. You see Cypress turn into this bear and just savagely rip into the wasp. Little graphic, but it immediately falls down. It's not a match at all whatsoever for him. It was incredibly easily defeated.
And then it's actually has the multi-attack thing. So can I still use that on another target, or does it have to be the same target? I'm not sure how that.
As far as I know, you can. Yeah. So
Okay.
go ahead and you still have movement. So go ahead and go to the other guy.
And then the claws.
Yep. Yep.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And again, you see him savagely rip at the other one, and it is like very, very, very hurt. But it's still barely hanging on. Barely hanging on. All right.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna move back a little bit to maybe. Oh, actually, yeah, to there.
Okay.
And maybe that might provoke or something, but I want to give other people
Yeah,
access to it.
it's going to provoke an action opportunity. So it's gonna right as you try to get away, it stings at you. What is your
an AC at 11.
Okay, it does hit. Go ahead and for 5 piercing, go ahead and roll DC Con.
Okay, roll that bear con.
Okay, you do not beat that. So this angry wasp, as it stings at you, you feel just some like your veins kind of something course through your veins, and you also take 11 poison damage.
That's a total of 16.
Yes. So 5 piercing, 11 poison.
All right.
Okay, Irene.
So I'm gonna look at the others and just kind of with like a bemused expression on my face, seeing our companion turn into a bear, and I'll just ask Ramune, has he done this before? And I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna try to do. I'm just gonna roll it and see what happens. Jesus, thank you, finally.
Oh my good God.
With all the frustration of not being able to hit this queen wasp and all this back and forth, Irene stalks up with her hammer and just sandwiches this wasp between the wall and the and her hammer, and I still have that smite up, so I'm just going.
It's dead.
It's dead.
I want to see the damage. I want to see it.
Okay, just for the hypothetical, let me just. It would have been.
Don't we do where crits are maxed?
Yeah, it's but it appears to be doing that though, right? What's your dice?
You just said it on the thing to do the crits maxed. You gotta put it
yeah.
manually.
It only rolled a D8 plus 2.
Okay. Yeah. You can set that up and beyond.
And
beyond 20.
Okay, 8 plus 2. Okay, 10 damage. Okay, got you.
Okay, so yeah, it is like completely destroyed, smashed against the wall, and is that your smite?
Yeah, that's the hypothetical smite, just to make me feel better.
Okay. Okay. Yep, it is. It is so dead. It is like obliterated to the point where you just it's disintegrated. It had 1 hit point left. So, all right. So we are out of initiative. The 3 bodies of the wasps, her wasp friends, are dead. The buzzing has seemed to have completely stopped. And yeah, so what do y'all want to do?
I make
I'm
bear
gonna-
noises.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at give Cypress a look and kind of give him raise an eyebrow and give him a thumbs up.
I look at Irene, ignoring how tasty she looks as I'm now a bear, and I'll sort of look down at myself and sort of just take it in, and I'll sort of do a half wave with my paw back.
All right, I'll a bit of a sigh of relief. I'll give you a pat on the flank and head over to look at this scepter thingy.
Does anybody have something we could tie up the bee with?
Ramune's going to expend the use of his healer's kit to try to bandage up and kind of fix up the queen.
Tie her up. Tie her up. Don't just heal her up. Tie her up.
Ramune's bandaging her up.
Ramune, tie her up first.
It's fine. She's out.
Okay, then I guess I'll walk away with the scepter as far away as possible. Then it's like,
Okay.
okay, you do you, Ramune.
So you have the scepter.
You do
Okay, go.
what you're doing is totally smart and reasonable.
Go ahead and do a medicine check. I
Oh, I
wanna
have to
see
do
how-
a medicine check?
I just want to see how much this helps her.
Well, I think healer's kits are just flat.
Okay. Are they just flat?
stabilized.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
just stabilized. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's
Even though
just,
even though I non-lethally killed her or knocked her out, so she wouldn't be making death saving rolls anyway. But
True.
Yeah, it's
True.
the whole aesthetic of trying to bandage up her wounds to show her that not hostile or not trying to be hostile,
Okay.
as that is Ramune's way,
Okay. Let me check something.
at least for now.
Right. Okay. Okay. So she kind of like opens her little bee eyes, and I mean, she looks like she is a humanoid creature. She has arms and legs, exactly as you see, and so looks, can walk, more than likely. I mean, you only saw her flying, but she can fly, she can walk. And you have not bandaged her up, right? Or you have not tied her up, right?
No, I'd be focusing on trying to get her wounds healed.
Okay.
If she tries to do anything, I'll just jump on her, like anything, like fleeing or flying or anything, out of the way.
Okay. So she kind of just looks. She opens her eyes, and she's really injured, like you said. She just stabilized. So she tries to flutter her wings, but they seem to be injured to the point where she can't. So it looks like she's trying to fly, but she can't fly. And she kind of sinks down and just looks at the group. And you could hear a low buzzing sound.
coming from her.
Yes, from her. Yeah, not from not like when she was using the scepter, coming from her.
We don't want to hurt you. And I'll point to the bandages that I have on her. We want to talk and find out what happened. What happened to you? What happened here? And what happened to the doctor?
And she looks at you, and she again tries to fly, but she can't. And she says, "Kill me."
Maybe she was like us. Maybe she was turned into a weird bee thing.
Ramune will pull off his mask and he'll look at her. Were you changed as well?
And she looks at Ramune and she says, not changed. Kill me. I'm an abomination, not changed. And she kind of just looks at all of you.
Ramune is depressed. Ramune puts his mask back on. He looks at Irene. I can't kill her.
I could kill her if you want.
Shut up.
I could do it.
I shoot Phineas an extremely dirty look.
As
Not
does
dirty,
Ramune.
but a look of don't you fucking dare.
I could do it. It's fine. I don't mind.
Kind of stepping in between us. I'm just gonna kneel so I'm like closer to her level, and I'll say, no matter how you view yourself, you are alive, you are awake, you are worthy of living, and even if you don't see that yet, that's a fact that exists regardless of your opinion. So please, give us a chance. Give yourself a chance.
I can still kill you if you want.
And she looks over at Phineas. And then she looks at Irene and she says, there's no hope. And she says, and she just repeats, there's no hope.
There's always hope.
Yeah, I'm fine with the mercy killing. We could do that.
Ramune points one of his short swords toward Phineas. We know a man who can help. He helps others, and he helps us. Come with us peacefully, and he can help return
What?
you.
Isn't he like lost now?
And she doesn't respond to that. She just kind of looks at you and closes her eyes. Not dying, not dying, but closes her eyes. Like she just doesn't want to continue to engage. Maybe she wants to take a nap or something. But yeah, she doesn't respond to that.
Oh, you mean Simic? I'm pretty sure he's just using us.
I think it would be wise to bring her back to Dr. Simic, and we could think of the next ethical step to take from there. And
mercy
like
killing's pretty ethical.
I agree. We should take her back to the doctor. Let's
Like if somebody had like a giant tumor on their face that was like made their life completely horrible and it was irremovable, I think mercy killing's fine.
Oh my
Moon
God.
just stares at him. Shut fuck up, Phineas.
I mean, it's just a matter of perspective, really.
And right now, this perspective is not needed. You've made your perspective very clear, and we've made ours clear.
I'm looking at the point of view of her.
You don't take another's life willingly. We have
No, this would be more like her taking her own life almost.
You don't let others take their own life. All life has value and is precious. Even yours.
I killed a bunny earlier today, and then
Aw.
Toren wasted it.
Was the bunny having a conversation with you, Phineas?
So you think a bunny's life is valued less than a bee?
Were you hunting for survival, or were you just killing bunnies for the fun of it?
Well, I was hunting a buddy because Toren lost a buddy, so I wanted to get a buddy to be like, "Ha, I got a buddy," but I was also going to eat it.
I really want to pull a Toren and try to knock Phineas out.
What Ramune does what?
Ramune just kind of walks away and he just goes over to Irene and... We should secure her wings and her arms and take her back. The doctor may have a way to help her, or at least lessen her pain.
Ramune, you're close enough to see that there is a vein in Irene's neck that is just like pulsing, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like flexed almost. And she just you hear a deep breath and she's like, yes, no, I quite agree. Let's see how we can take care of her. I'll shoulder her for the rest of the time as we look for the doctor.
I will tend to her best I can. And Ramune's gonna lean in to Irene and be like, and keep an eye on Phineas. If she is suicidal, she may try to leverage him to kill her.
It won't take much. Like, I'm pretty sympathetic to
He's
people
whispering
like
this
her.
to Irene.
Yeah, and I'll just nod back.
Okay, so are you guys going to try to take her out of the cave? If you're leaving the cave now, I won't make you walk out. We'll just, you just leave because you know the way out. Otherwise, do you want to explore the cave anymore? Do you want to look for anything else? Do you want to continue looking for Dr. Simic, or do you want to exit the cave?
I'm voting to continue looking. There's that southern corridor we hadn't checked out.
Okay.
I'm looking for
voting to
Wade
continue
now.
Looking as well as we found a lab jacket that looked similar to his, and there's a possibility he could still be in here, as we didn't find crushed remains of him.
Right.
I'm looking for Dr. Way.
Because
Yeah,
Way
Dr.
lost
Way.
his way.
Oh,
We'll find him.
wait.
Yes, Wade did lose his way. It's very sad. Okay. All right. So you all tie the queen. And so you
Can
secure
I like
her.
inspect this the scepter?
Yeah, you can go ahead and inspect it. Go ahead and let's see. Go ahead and roll Arcana, since it seems to have some type of supernatural abilities. Okay. Go ahead and what's it DC? Yeah. Okay. So you're not really able to ascertain much from it, except for that it seems to have it seems to be cooling, like it was warm when you first. It seems slightly less warm than you first when you first grabbed it. You theorize that maybe it's a wand, maybe disguised as a scepter, maybe. I mean, you're not sure about that, but you can't tell what type of magic it can do or for sure, but it feels like it's kind of cooling off a bit.
Okay.
So she's secured. Now, are you going to kind of, now she's a small, she's a medium creature, so she would be pretty easy to carry, with you, without too much trouble. Did you want to carry her with you, or are you just going to leave her there while you explore?
I'm gonna carry her.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say, I mean, this is an insect, so she doesn't have a lot of mass to her insect body. So I'm gonna, as you move, I'll bring her with you. So okay, so go ahead and you can go ahead and move your tokens to wherever you want to go, and I'll move her with you.
Okay.
Irene.
So I think Toren will take the lead. Similar deal as what we did before with the torchlight. So he's just stealthily going a little bit further ahead.
I stow my short swords and pick up my bow again as I take up the rear.
Didn't we already explore everything?
There's a passage we haven't checked out yet. To the south. Was it? Oh, maybe I confused myself. What? Maybe I am the bamboozled one.
I thought we already explored everything. That's what.
Did we go to the north?
Yeah, that's the entrance.
No, the other side.
Right? Yeah, there's nothing there.
Okay, let me not get too ahead. Let's just... Is this what I was thinking of? Are we looking here?
I think that's where there was like a wagon or something.
Ooh, what's that?
That is a crate.
Did we look inside that crate?
No.
Oh no, did someone crate the good doctor?
I guess I'm gonna take my sword and try like pry it open.
Okay. Go ahead and do a strength roll for that. You put your sword in between it and you wedge it and you pull and you can't quite get it open.
Can I make an attempt after watching Phineas try to open it up?
Yes.
Probably not the best one either for it, but Ramune's gonna be like, let me try to help.
Okay.
Just barely better.
You also wedge the sword, pull. Nope, seems pretty tight. Not quite able to open it.
Okay, I'm gonna give this a red hot go.
Ramune just kind of looks back at Sai and be like, do you think the bear could crush it? Or open it?
The bear is willing to try, and also finding these other attempts, just unbearable.
What's unbearable is we can't understand you because you're just growling at us.
Yeah, I know. The bear is indicating that it's willing to try by, sort of pointing its snout towards it.
Yeah, you can. The bear can understand, but you can't talk to him.
Yeah, I can't talk to anybody. I haven't been trying to.
Ramune's just kind of looking, and it looks like the bear is just walking over. Ramune just step back.
The modifier is better, but it's still not a good roll.
Okay, yeah, bear just kind of swipes at it, grabs it between his claws, tries to rip it open with his claws. Nope, still not yet. But it's been weakened. Okay. Irene is like, okay, boys, let me show you how this is done.
This is how you do it great, right?
Right. And Irene takes the war pick and again wedges it between and just the end of the pick and just finally wrenches it open and it flies open. And you look in and it has in there a bunch of clothes. Older, it looks like miner's clothes, some papers, and what looks like to be some a little book, some old spoiled food, and a small little pouch, which you open up, has a gold in it. 1 gold. And that's what's in there.
All right. I'll take the papers and books and turn to Ramune so we can take a look.
Okay. You want to look at both the papers and the books, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just allow you to look at these. I mean, they're not very long. They're just individual papers, and the books. There's a couple of like, I don't really even want to call them books. Again, they're more like journal type of things, like little paper bound journals, or some type of record keeping type of books. You look at the papers, you quickly kind of thumb through those, and putting this all together in your head, after looking at the papers and the clothes and the food, this is obviously to you all pretty obvious without even doing any checks, is the supplies of miners, right? Like some miners who were there, this is probably their little like storage container that they used. The clothes are clearly, clothes that people would use down in the mines, some protective gear as well. As you look through the papers, they appear to be planned, they kind of mention places that they next want to go, that they next want to mine, this very technical type of mining plans. You look in one of the journals, and if you've thumbed through the first journal, and it's mostly like kind of plans, names of people, names of probably miners, things that they're doing. The second one seems a little bit more like a diary type. You kind of thumb through, very innocuous, talking about a family, children, a spouse, things that they're doing that day, being in the tavern, very short entries. But you get yourself to kind of the end of where it, you look at the date, and you quickly go through the part where the event happened. You see a few entries of note. The first entry talks about how there was a small group of people in the mine when the event supposedly happened. Again, now it's about a month ago. And they felt a presence, explosion, and then a presence. One of the person's friends seemed to have lost his mind, quote unquote, as it says in the journal. The journal details that he lost his mind. And they had to restrain him. He was trying to attack the group, and they had to restrain him. And the person said that he then felt a presence in the mine, but he couldn't quite explain what it was. They immediately went back to the town, and they took the guy to the hospital to see if anything could be helped. The end of the entry says that sadly the guy did pass away because he could not be helped. The next entry talks about, of note, there's others of note, talks about a particularly harrowing time that they had in the mine. They were just coming across some precious ore. This was a find that they had been, that would really feed their families, and as it was getting more and more dangerous to go out, and they were attacked by some spiders that appeared to be bigger than he'd ever seen, and they seemed to be coordinated, and they were trying to overwhelm them. And he talked about how scared he was, how terrifying, and how he was scared that they probably couldn't come back. And then the final entry in this book, you see where he talks about an incident where, and this was maybe a couple weeks before this date, an incident where they went back. Only a few of them were willing to go back at this point because of the danger. And they were attacked by a swarm of insects. He doesn't specify bees, he says a swarm of insects. And they were overwhelmed. They barely got out alive. And then he heard a voice. And it was a feminine sounding voice. And it said, "Don't come back." Thought he had imagined it. Didn't say anything else. He tried to talk back to it. He asked anybody else if they'd heard it. Nobody else had heard it. And as the foreman, he decided at that point, much to the anger of the other miners and he got a lot of backlash from he felt he was going to get a lot of backlash from the town, that he was going to close the mine. It was just too dangerous. And the final sign off is, "And if I write you again, you will know that this has been resolved." And that's what you've seen.
Okay, so seeing the spider webs over there, let's keep an eye out for potentially more insects or anything of the sort. Stay away from webs or be extra mindful, and let's not wander too far from each other. All right, shall we?
Is there any like a tarp or anything, like a blanket or anything like that in the crate?
There's like there's like blankets. Yeah. I'm gonna say there's a couple blankets.
I'm gonna grab a couple with the intent that if we make it out of the cave fort, we can use it to cover up the queen bee.
Okay. And going forward, by the way, I forgot about this, but so going forward, I'm going to ask you guys. We're gonna say this time, because I didn't ask or anything like that, it's gonna be, you brought the cart with you, but you do have a small cart. And so every time you kind of venture out, let's say, outside of town, I'm going to ask you, and you have like a horse, like a little mule. So I'm going to say, are you bringing the cart and the horse, or are you going on foot? And so let's say in this case, you brought it. Okay. You can put the queen in it. But going forward, just make the decision as to whether or not you want to bring that. So, okay. Yeah, and if I forget, remind me. Okay. But yeah, we'll talk about the horse. Okay, so Toren, you can stop.
Yeah.
You hear, and Irene stop. So, the web is difficult terrain, and so, but you're not restrained. All of a sudden, you hear a scurrying, and you see, out of the corner of your eye, what looks to be a giant spider, and it is coming straight towards you. I'm going to stay here. All right, let's roll initiative.
I want to do an animal handling check and attempt to tame him. Kidding.
You can do animal. Oh, okay.
Kidding. I've had a lot of players try to do that in some of my games, and I'm just like,
no.
You can't tame the warg. It's only friendly to goblins. I'm sorry.
Right. They will try it. They will try it.
I love it. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but
I totally agree. Look, it doesn't hurt to ask. Sometimes it works out. So, even for you, right? Like sometimes you don't even know, and you're like, "That was a brilliant idea. Let's go with it." So, okay, all right. So let's let me pull up his info. There we go. Mesa Wood. And
oh, thank goodness, Sai's going before all of us. Go
right.
get him, brown bear.
I can't really. I'm not gonna be able to go far because of the difficult terrain.
All right, let me go ahead and put this in order.
Spider's still going first.
Yeah, Spider's first. All right, so he is going to, I think it's climb. Yep. All right, he is going to climb up the side of the wall, and he's going to go. Go here, and he is going to bite at Toren. And okay.
15.
Say it again.
Yeah, 15 AC on Toren.
Okay. That does hit. So that's going to be 8 piercing. Go ahead and do a con save, please.
I'm also going to try and use my interruption to so that's reduced to 6.
Got it. Okay. And go ahead and do a con save,
21
please.
save.
Oh, 21 con save. Okay, yeah. Okay, and so you take 2 poison.
Okay, got you.
All right, Brown Bear.
You can do it, Pooh. Do it, Pooh.
Could I
Go, Pooh.
exist here? Or is that...
I think that's, let's see. I think that is not too far. Let's do the ruler.
Well, it's within 20 feet, but it's just I want to know if I could just if I can remain there. It looks a little cramped.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can remain there.
All right, and I'm gonna hold my action to attack the spider if it gets within range.
Okay. Ramune.
I'm so thankful I stowed my short swords and I have my longbow out, because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attempt to shoot the giant spider with my longbow.
Okay.
Oh.
Yep. Nope. Hits.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Excitement.
All right. Yeah, and you just see an arrow go sailing past, and it hits the spider right in the, what did they have, like a thorax? It's called thorax. Is that spiders? I don't know. Anyway, in the body. Yeah, solid hit.
Dope.
Anything else?
I am just going to take a step back next to the rock, just so I can kind of keep an eye on the queen bee here, and that'll end my turn.
Okay. All right, Toren.
He's going to take the disengage action and just, not be there anymore.
Right.
Why,
Smart.
why would you want to, Yeah, that's that.
Okay. All right, Phineas.
I will shoot.
Now you're gonna have to squeeze by Irene. I mean, that's if you want to go to where there's not a risk of hitting, one of your comrades. You're gonna have to squeeze by. That's not very much movement, so you can probably go. You can go right here. I'm gonna move you.
Isn't that? Can't I see him right there? Right
He was trying to shoot him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this would be a clear shot. Yeah, this is fine.
I don't want to get next to it.
So if you go here, I'm gonna move you because I don't think you
sucks.
can move yourself. Do you want to go here?
No.
Or do you want to stay where you were?
I don't. I want to stay there.
Got it. Okay.
Are you sure?
All right. So you go ahead and you let an Eldritch Blast out, and it just wildly misses the spider, and so off that it actually grazes Irene. Irene, go ahead and take 3 of force damage.
Okay.
Didn't get her all the way, but grazed her in the side. And it's a little cramped space, so it's clearly not really your fault. It's cramped. So, all right, Irene.
All right. So let's see if this bug squishing momentum will stick.
Yep, hits.
Bonk. 8 points of bonk damage.
Okay. Yeah, so you managed to. Now, wait, question. This is with Warhammer, right?
Warhammer, yes.
Does that have reach?
Oh, sorry, no, I would have guessed.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, cool. No problem. All right. Yeah, solid hit. Again, just hit it center mass. Go ahead. It's not looking it's looking injured, but it definitely looks like it's still well pretty healthy. It's not near death, let's put it that way. It doesn't look super near death, but you've done some visible damage.
All right, so I'll stay in its reach, but I'll leave some room for our big bear boy.
Okay.
Yep, that's me.
All right. So it's going to actually move. It's going to climb down from the wall where it is, move over to the bear, and it's going to hit at the bear.
Would that trigger my held action?
Oh, you're right. It would. Yeah, go ahead. Because you said you were holding until it
got in range.
Closer. Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
And then,
Yeah, you bite at it, and you swipe at it, but because it's kind of in motion, you just kind of miss. It's it's kind of like it's not standing still as you go at it, and then it finally stops and it bites at you. And sorry, what's your AC again?
11.
Okay.
Very, very low as a bear.
Okay. It also is not able to quite get you. It bites at you and you kind of like dodge out of the way. Let's see. Okay. What? All right. It's actually so what I wanted to do. Yeah, that's gonna be it for his turn. Okay. All right, go ahead and go. Brown bear.
All right. Having just attacked it as it got in my reach, I'll try to attack it again.
Okay, yep, that one hits. Now it's looking bad. Yeah, you just managed to bite at it, and you managed to. Okay, wait. So those are the bite. The second...
It doesn't differentiate for some reason. All right, so it was the bite was 19 to hit and 11 damage, and then within the claws was just an 8 to hit.
8 to
so
hit.
That's probably good.
Okay, yeah. So the first bite definitely hit, and you see him just kind of take a chunk out of this spider, but the claws again. You swipe right after with claws, and it does not quite get it. You scratch the side of the cave as the spider kind of injured moves out of the way. And that's it. Ramune.
Ramune's going to step over here so he can get a clearer line of shot. And he's going to attempt to shoot it with his longbow.
Okay. Okay, yep, hits.
For 7 piercing.
Okay. Yeah, again, solid shot. Ramune is just on with these shots. The spider doesn't seem to, its legs aren't working as well. In fact, it might have just like gotten hit in one of its legs, and that's the second shot.
No, ignore that. I don't know why that happened. That's weird.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't look good. It's hurting. Anything else, Ramune?
Oh, I'm just gonna move back to by the bee, and that'll end my turn.
All right, Toren.
Okay, so Toren is about to start blasting. I'll give it a red hot go. He'll also clear up his line of shot. Oof.
Okay, not quite as good of luck with all the people and the bear just kind of crowded in. Toren doesn't quite get a clear view, and the arrow goes high. sticks into the side of the cave.
Yeah, he'll just head back over here between. Yeah.
Okay. And Phineas.
I will swing my sword. Damn.
Okay. Phineas does a wild swing, and it's surprising because Phineas usually is a little bit. It's really good with this sword. Probably kind of annoyed by what happened with the last Eldritch Blast. Out of a little bit of anger, doesn't quite hit the mark, and again the spider kind of loops to the side and doesn't get him. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, Irene.
I just noticed Irene's initiative score.
Yeah. Solid.
That's
Solid
because
one.
she's number 1.
That's right.
The very gosh darn best. The gosh darn best at squashing bugs.
The best there ever was.
Yes. So Irene is over it. Takes the warhammer, raises it over her head, and with the final slash down, the spider has been dispatched. Spider guts fly all over Phineas, the bear, and Irene. It's a little gross, but yeah, it's dead.
DM suggestion. Odds or evens to see if any goes in our mouth.
Yeah, let's do it. You want to roll roll a
D4.
D6.
Should I roll? I'm gonna roll.
I'll call evens to avoid on my roll.
Okay, even to avoid. Okay. So you close your mouth just in time, but it sprays you all in the faces. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so it's dead.
I look to the group and you say, well, no wonder the miners left. This was very unpleasant.
Let me move the queen bee with you.
So goes anything here? Okay. If there's nothing out of the norm anywhere about. Okay. I'll kind of rub my chin and say, still no Dr. Way. That's all right. Well, shall we head back and touch base with? Oh well, no. We still have one more spot on our rotation to take a look at before we head back to report on our investigation. Because it was the lake, it was the area and the wooded area, right?
Yes.
All right. So, guess we'll start making our way towards the wooded area.
Okay, so you're gonna leave the cave.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I think we've seen everything.
Okay, so we will leave the cave. Okay. Let me take off this turn order. There we go. Okay. So you all leave the cave with the queen bee. I'm assuming you place her in the cart as you move along, and cover up with a blanket. And looking at the map and the compass, you head towards the final destination on your map, which is a wooded area. And so is there anything that anybody would like to do as you head over in that direction?
Is the bee up for talking, or does she seem kind of like doesn't want to talk?
She seems out of it, and she doesn't seem like she wants to talk.
Okay.
If you've made attempts to talk to her, she's just gone mute.
Yes, I very much would love a short rest.
Okay.
Yeah, sure,
I
sure,
would
be
I
good.
would say that if we suggest stopping, I would say that injury-wise, we're not too bad off, and we should probably keep looking for Dr. Wei, as all this has happened today, it might still be time sensitive.
Yeah, like we need our abilities if we're gonna get into like a fight. So
DM, the cart that we have, are we all able to ride in it, or is it just like a small cart where you can fit maybe 1 or 2 people and the rest just kind of walk alongside?
It's a small cart where you would really only be able to fit maximum 2 medium creatures, and it wouldn't be comfortable, for that. So if the queen is in there, one person would be able to kind of sit in there, but that would be it.
can I also try to cut Toren's bowstring?
Yeah.
If you try to do that, aside from Toren stopping you, I'm also going to end it.
I'm gonna do it stealthily, so
No, you are on my radar. You flagged yourself as problematic.
I'm gonna do it stealthily, so
Okay, so I'm gonna say in terms of so let's put it this way. If you're gonna cut Toren's bowstring, okay, let me think about how I want to do this stealthily.
That's so mean, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be at disadvantage because I think it's fair, and it's
Toren
crazy that
actually
this is such
put it on his body, that it's slung in front
Yeah.
of him. So.
because of how it's slung on you, and also because Toren is kind of looking out for Phineas anyway.
and my rabbit was in my hands, and he was able to do it.
So right, but we did contested for that, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
wasn't stealth.
Yeah.
It was contested.
Yeah. So okay, so yeah, he just kind of like you're able to kind of like
Well, that stealth would be normal, right? Well, not a disadvantage.
no, it is a disadvantage because
Why would the stealth be a disadvantage?
because the way
And not
because
the cutting the bow.
Looking out for you. Literally everyone is looking out for you.
Oh my god!
well, for 2 reasons. Number one, because of the way that's on like his body.
Well,
He
yeah,
would
no,
really
I'm stealthing up to sneak up to him. I thought it would be a different check to actually cut it.
Gotcha. Okay. I still don't think that you would really be able to sneak up on him, to be honest with you, because you all are
I'm just
walking
calling that the
together.
fairness of this then, of this being a one-way street against me.
Well, so here's the thing. Everybody's kind of walking together. And so stealthing, this is, what I'm saying? It's not like if you were like maybe all at a camp kind of relaxing, but everybody's kind of walking together. So it'd be really hard for you to stealth. So considering the situation, it wouldn't be very easy for you to stealth at all.
It'd be just
up on
walking
him.
nonchalantly up to him and keeping out of not drawing attention to himself, basically.
So you
Okay,
say
so-
you'd be trying to do like a sleight of hand then, not a stealth, but you try to be sleight of hand where you're trying to do something unnoticeably in front of him while being next to him. Is that what you're trying to say?
I think that makes more sense. Yeah, because if you were just trying to sneak up to him, that wouldn't work. But if you're actually just trying to kind of like walk nonchalantly and then suddenly like reach out and cut it, that would work. Okay, so we can do that without disadvantage. Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll sleight. Is your sleight of hand the same modifier?
Not the same modifier. It's just
Okay, go ahead and roll sleight of hand, please.
nice.
Okay. And go ahead and do, let's see. I want to do a perception against that to see if you notice it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Oh,
so
Toren
just,
noticed.
What
Okay.
the fuck game?
okay. So,
Okay, I have to cut Toren's throat in the night. Then that's just how it works. Okay.
no, we're not doing PV, we're not doing player against player like that. Okay. So, you do kind of like see what he's doing and you kind of like back away. How do you want to react to that?
As he's trying to So, how exactly are you doing this, Phineas? What's the approach? Do you have like a blade in your hand to try and cut it?
Yeah, just my sword, or no dagger, probably.
Okay, let me just take this in. You walk in, you come up with a dagger with the intention to cut the bowstring. So he's gonna basically look at if your priority is disarming me while we're in the forest trying to fight insects and rescue a colleague, then you are going to be in for a world of regret.
Your priority was fucking your priority was to knock my food out of my hand. What the hell kind of person does that?
If you want to deal with this when the mission is done, I might consider it, but now is not the time.
You didn't do the mission too. What do you mean?
A rabbit is not going to stop your ability to fight. We have food.
Yeah, you got other stuff you could use besides a bow.
Do you know if I can use them as well as a bow?
Who cares?
Okay.
You should be more well versed then.
What do you use aside from your sword?
My blast from my hands.
Anyway, as I said, if you're gonna continue trying this in the middle of a forest while we're on a mission to try and disarm one of your own teammates, not food, not inconvenience, disarm.
You do realize I've lived my entire life eating dirty rats, right?
And you do realize in the recent weeks we've been paid, we've been fed, we've been housed, we've been taken care of, right?
Recent weeks? How many? It's been like a week?
It's been like a month. It's been over a month. Yeah.
You've been well fed and housed and taken care of for a month.
Okay. And then maybe he can fix your bowstring too. That's simple.
As I said.
Maybe you should stop being so immature around me and actually focus on things instead of worrying about me, and we wouldn't have this problem.
If I wasn't worrying about you, I wouldn't have a bow right now. And the next fight we came across,
if you weren't worrying about me eating a rabbit, maybe you wouldn't have to worry about your bow. It's very simple.
If you want to cut my bow when we get back to town, when we're not in danger of being jumped upon by rabid insects, go ahead. I'll restrain
All I'm saying is you guys didn't want me to have a rabbit, and then you wanted to try to reason with a barely communicative bee that was trying to actively murder you. I don't know, guys. This seems like you got your like priorities in a tangle.
Well, we're reasoning with a barely communicative you who's trying to inconvenience us, so it's almost the same, isn't it?
I am way more communicative than fucking the bee was.
And we regret it every day. This is Toren, by the way, not Irene. I don't understand.
It's like getting to a point, guys, where it's like, if you guys are actually even like sane.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move through the conversation, and I think the bottom line is that Phineas is very angry that you guys took his rabbit, okay, and because this food is precious to him, but the group is not going to come to any type of agreement outside of, or any type of, I should say, compromise outside of the conversation. So let's go ahead and nobody's moving, nobody's budging. So let's go ahead and move forward to the exploration. And if you want to talk more about the rabbit and more about this disagreement, let's take that when we get back to Mesa Wood or wherever the next town is.
When Toren actually comes back, that should be the I don't think I could do him justice.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So let's hold that thought then. Hold the grudge. You're still mad.
I mean, to be honest, I'm kind of with Phineas on this. Toren just went in there and knocked it out. Yeah, Phineas broke the window and stuff for it, but he just came in there and knocked it out without saying anything. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, that was not it wasn't. It really wasn't. Yeah, so we'll so when Toren goes back, so let's hold the conversation. Let's say for now it just ended at, you guys kind of arguing and not resolving anything. And further discuss when Toren gets back. Okay. So you all head to the you all continue to head to the area on the map, and anything else you want to do before you get there?
I know we're in a hurry, but I think it would be decent for us to at least have an hour's rest to eat something and regain our strength just in case.
I second that.
Okay, so short rest. We are going to do a short rest then. Okay, cool. Okay. So you all, I guess, probably make a small campfire. Go ahead and use your hit die if you want. And let me go ahead and roll.
Get my spells back.
Okay. So as you all kind of sit and kind of relax in the woods, which I don't have the wood ambiance on. Let me add that. As you all kind of relax in the woods, the queen bee doesn't really seem to be responding. She's alive, but she's not really very active, I guess you could say. Kind of seems to be kind of chilling out, sleeping in the cart. And so the rest goes uneventfully. You all kind of use some of your bedrolls, kind of chill out, and you do a short rest. Okay, go ahead and continue on.
All right, so I guess we're prioritizing tracks, broken foliage, footprints, anything that looks out of the norm in terms of just keeping our eyes peeled as we go along.
Yeah, can I survival check or something for tracks and such?
Yep, go ahead and survival. Okay.
Nice.
All right. So Phineas, now you've been looking the whole time. Now, due to your annoyance at Toren, you weren't really paying as much attention. You're a little bit distracted, still angry over what he did. But after the camp, you kind of regain your focus, and you realize I really didn't see any other signs or tracks since around the cave. And so you kind of double back a bit. You look around, you walk forward, you look in the area, and you look really, really well. And just due to your experience with understanding how to survive in the urban wilds and even sometimes the wilds outside of the city, you seem to believe that the tracks with this high roll went into the cave and maybe ended there. They don't seem to have gone any further towards this last location.
Hey guys, I don't know, maybe we missed something in the cave. I'm not really picking much out here. Did anybody have a comment on that? I don't know. Hello? Hello?
Can you guys hear?
I think we're all just giving him the silent treatment.
I
Johnny,
could kill the bee right now, guys. Like, I could kill the
yes, I
bee
can.
right now. Like,
Johnny, I think you might have been on mute if you were saying anything. Oh, BRB. Okay.
We should head back to town then, with what we have.
maybe we should double check the cave. I don't know.
You had checked everything in the cave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there was
Maybe let's
no
go
question.
to town then. Ah.
Okay.
I'm glad you see it that way. Smart choice.
Ramune, do you have a problem?
No. He
Okay.
just slowly turns his head away.
Okay, so we're gonna head back to town. Is there anything else anybody wants to do before headed back towards Mesa Wood? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a no. Okay. Okay. So so you guys head back to Mesa Wood. Uneventful. You know, it is now nighttime. A little bit past. Which there's a way to keep track of time better, so I'm going to be able to do this soon. But so let's see, you left around 6. Okay, so I'm going to say and leave out the hour rest. So it's a little bit past 10 o'clock. As you're walking back, you kind of like you hear one of the other search parties calling out in the distance. So he doesn't sound like he's been found. You go back to the middle of the town where you see that Isla and other townspeople have kind of set up like what looks like a makeshift outdoor, you know, kind of camp, I guess you could say, even though it's in town, like a station. And Isla is sitting on the steps of the government building and she's talking to someone. There are other people just kind of milling around. You notice that one of the search parties seems to have come back, and they're talking in a group as well. One of them is still out. What do you want to do?
I mean, I guess we should go over. I mean, Cypress now is in his human form. It's been a little bit. We short rested. He reverted back. But he suggests that we should go and talk to the other search party and see what they found.
Okay. You want to approach the other search party?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will
All right.
stay with-
So you walk up to the other search party. Go ahead. Say what you want to say to them.
Oh, hey guys, we haven't found anything. Have you had any luck?
And a woman in the search party, she's a dwarf, and she kind of looks at you and she says, "Oh," and she's frustrated. Makes a frustrated, okay, cool. Makes a frustrated, like, defeated kind of. You see her shoulders kind of slink, and she's like, "No, not a trace." It's like he vanished into thin air. And she just kind of puts her hand over her head, and she's like, "I hope he's okay." And she says, "This is really very concerning, and we have people at his house." And she says, "There's still another group out there, so maybe they find something. I don't know."
I want to
all
check
we
with.
found
Wait.
was the.
Oh no, go ahead.
All we found was a big bee.
Oh, we
And
found a
she's-
jacket, didn't we? Should we show them the jacket? I will show them the jacket that we found.
Okay. She as you're showing her the jacket, she looks at Phineas and is like, "A big bee."
Yeah, big bee.
She says,
They seem to talk too, like a little bit.
"You see
Wants to
her?
die.
You see her features like kind of look confused and says, a talking, like a bee, like a bumblebee.
Uh, maybe like a wasp, maybe looking like, I don't know, it could be a bumblebee, but it was a big bee, humanoid looking kind of ish bee. Wanted to die.
She looks confused at that last statement, but she says, "Well, this is definitely something that I wish he was here for because he's the type of person that would be able to make sense of that." And she says, I think you should probably talk to his assistant about that. And she kind of recovers and notices the jacket, and she's like, you see some hope like on her face, and then you see an instant like realization. She's like, is that his jacket? And she looks at it and she says, that is his jacket. You found his jacket, but not him. She's phrasing that as a question.
I don't know. What do you, yeah, I guess so.
And she just looks and she says, let's go to, I think you should go talk to Isla at once. Since she's organizing this operation. We didn't find anything. We're not going to be very helpful.
Okay. Where is she?
Isla is sitting on the steps of the building. Hasn't seemed to have noticed you yet. She's in conversation with another person. And so you can go talk to her if you want.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so group goes over to talk to Isla. I'm going to go ahead and... Where is Isla's token? There it is. Okay. Okay, so Isla sees you guys and says, "Oh my goodness, did you find?" She says, "Well, he's not with you, so did you find anything?"
We found his jacket and a big bee.
She reaches out for the jacket, I just assume you give it to her, so she'll take it if you give it to her. Okay. She looks at it and she says, "Yeah, this is definitely his jacket. Where did you find this? And was there anything else that you found with it? Any other signs of him?"
Did we find the jacket in the cave?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we found it in this cave. We got this big bee here. We found it in the cave too.
Ramune would try to just get in front of the queen bee, just being protective.
And she says, "Big bee?"
There were giant insects inside the cave. We found the jacket, some old crates and a smashed cart, but no remains.
And she kind of puts her head in her hands and she's thinking, and she says, "Well, we've already sent some people down the road to go to the next town. But," and she thinks for a minute and she says, "The jacket, was there anything else you found?"
Just some questionable choices.
And Ramune just glances over at Phineas real quick and then glances
There was
back.
a book, I think. Right?
Oh yeah, there was a ledger. Or a diary. Who had that?
It seemed like it doesn't seem like it was the doctors though. It seemed like it was the miners that were there.
Okay. Do you want to give her the journal?
I think those are the wrong miners you spelt there. That's a different kind of miners.
Yeah, those were not. Those were not.
Guys, welcome to medieval slave labor where kids are used.
Yeah,
That's
were they
so
not just
sad.
were the minor clothes not just small clothes for minors?
Miners.
They were probably
Miners. Yeah.
they were probably adults.
The clothes all
But-
have pictures of Paul Logan on them or some shit like that.
Oh God.
Fucking-
They're probably adults. I mean, you know, from the clothes, they looked like adult clothes. You didn't bring. I don't think you brought any of those back. So, you brought the journals. I think the journal was the only thing you brought back from that cart, right? Did you bring anything else back? And maybe the papers.
I think we left the clothes. I took the blankets.
Yeah, you took the blankets, the journal.
That was it. Oh, Phineas still has the wand, I think.
Okay,
the scepter. We didn't find that with the
Yeah.
stuff. So.
The scepter, and then okay. Anything else you guys took? I think that was even it. Okay.
I mean,
All
if
right.
you want to be technical, Phineas, Cypress, and Irene took a bunch of spider ichor with them.
That's true. Very true. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so then you want to show her all these items, I'm assuming?
I think so, right? Everyone's cool with that.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll always ask because there's sometimes, you know, I'm not going to assume that you guys are going to show them anything, right? Number one, you have to remember that you have it. Okay, so like if you forget to show them a key item, that's kind of the group. And number two, because sometimes you may want to keep it secret, right? Sometimes you may not want to tell them. So I'm never going to assume that you're showing them anything. Okay, so you give her, so you show her the journal, the papers, and the jacket. You already showed her that. Okay, so she kind of rifles through the journals, and she says, "Oh yes," and she says, "Oh yes, this is and she says, Bromir, and she says the foreman, he's gone back home. There was quite an uproar when he made the decision to close the mine, but it was the right one. But he's unfortunately he's not in town. I think that this and she's kind of looking at, like, focusing in on a certain entry, and she says, I think with his observations that he wrote about of the spiders, that could be useful information for the Allorian Conservation Alliance, and also maybe useful in finding out what happened to Dr. Way, she says kind of sadly. And she says, so it won't do much good with me here. Why don't you hang on to this? She quickly rifles through the paper and just dismisses them as they're not really important. They just look like plans. And then she looks at you all and she says, well, you have helped us. Oh, the scepter. You showed the scepter too, right? She looks at the... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that'd probably be up to Phineas, since he
Okay.
has it.
Do you want to show the scepter?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. So she looks at the scepter and she just looks really confused. She picks it up, she turns it over, and she just kind of gives you this, like, I got nothing. You know, this is not a person who would be able to ascertain any type of magical or other abilities from an item. She hands it back to you, and she says, but you said there was a bee.
Yeah, Ramune's guarding it. He's kind of protective.
There
seems
were
like.
several giant bees in the cave that we have dispatched.
And Ramune is just staring at Phineas, eyes flaring, or eye globules just flaring up. And as he's standing in front of the covered queen bee.
And she says, "Oh, well, we should probably send some." And she says, "Oh, I can't be. It's not safe. We'll make sure that we keep everyone away from that cave. Then it sounds like it's getting more dangerous." She doesn't really seem interested in looking at what is in her cart at all. She just doesn't want to know. And she sits down and she thinks and she says, "Well, we'll send a larger group. We need to go back to send a larger group to look for him, a group with more abilities. It's not safe for us just to send our fellow townspeople to that cave at this point." And she thinks for a second and she says, "Can you all go back to, you all came from Ardenborn, right?"
Yes.
And she says, "May I propose that you go back to Ardenborn? You could probably get there just as fast as we could. And go back to the Allorian Conservation Alliance there and talk to them about mobilizing a larger group to find Dr. Wei, and maybe you'll come back with them. But we clearly need a larger operation, and I believe a group such as yourself could get back there faster than either a letter or us."
I am in agreement. Is everyone else?
Sure.
Yes, and we'd probably best to get the Queen to Dr. Simic as soon as we can.
And she kind of, with the mention of Queen again, she kind of looks over at Ramune and says, "It's like a giant bee with a queen?"
Just the remains. But do not worry. We have the situation in hand.
And Ramune just glares
I don't know.
at
I don't know
Irene
what
now.
you're doing, Rune. Like,
If you will
What-
excuse me.
And he starts to walk away with the cart.
She kind of shrugs and she says, "Okay," kind of like not wanting to push the issue. She respects whatever you all are doing. And so she says, "Okay, well, so you all will go back and speak with the Allorian Conservation Alliance for us, and we'll continue searching, I guess. But I think we need a larger operation." And she says, are we all in agreement?"
Yes, I think this has certainly our scouting decks. We might need to ramp up the scale of searching.
Okay. All right. So she kind of she thanks you all, and it just seems very appreciative. And she says, "I just want you to know that we are indebted to you, and you're welcome back to Mesawood if you don't come back with this group at any time." And the person who she was speaking with nods his head and in agreement, and she says, "Do you need any supplies to make your way back? We don't have much here, but if you need some supplies, I'll try to find what I can."
yeah, sure.
Bowstring.
Yeah, maybe some food. I don't know.
Okay. So they have like a small, like a butcher shop. So they would have things more than likely like rabbit, boar, etc. You can go, we're not gonna roleplay this out too much. I think that we can head out. if you're not kidding, she would definitely be able to get an extra bowstring. They have like it's like a very small general store. It doesn't have weapons per se, but it does have hunting equipment, probably some hunting bows and some bowstrings. She can get all of that for you. Yeah, so those things are very easy for her to get. Is there anything else?
I feel like we have all the need.
I mean,
Okay.
Would Irene say no to getting a couple of muzzles?
To owning them, the ethical application of such, be another matter.
She could get muzzles if you wanted them. They would be
I like this town. It's a little
not.
kinky.
They would be more or less muzzled for dogs, probably. So their usefulness on a human target would not be very good.
I will literally cut your hands off.
So
He's a slime.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm starting to believe that Phineas is a homicidal maniac. Like,
You guys are literally threatening to take away my food, muzzle me. Are you kidding?
So you offer to break fingers, cut off hands, destroy people?
Yeah, for interrogation.
yeah.
Do you see the difference in this?
You escalated food to handcuff.
What do you threatened to put a muzzle on me?
No.
That was
We
out
just
of
get him on
character.
the next insect we come across.
I'll fucking boil you alive. Come on.
Yeah, nobody threatened you. That's gaslighting.
And Isla kind of looks at this conversation and kind of is slowly backing away, like, I'll go get those items. So I'll be right back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ramune didn't say any of that. He's off in the distance with the cart.
Yeah.
Trying to
And she
protect
kind of-
the sentient creature that's in there.
Trying to protect. So you're very protective of the queen bee. And fortunately, nobody's paying attention to the small cart. I mean, they can't tell what's in it, number one. And number two, they're just more concerned with, finding Dr. Wei. I mean, the real person you probably are protecting her from is Phineas. But fortunately, nobody else is really paying attention. So Isla kind of runs off real quick. And you see her talk to another person. And after about 30 minutes or so, she comes back with a couple of other people. One person that looks like he may have been woken up, but he doesn't seem upset. He has on a nightshirt. It's a warm night out, so he has on a nightshirt and some regular pants. And he hands you a crate with a couple of rabbits that have been prepared. They can be roasted over a fire. He hands that to you. Another person hands you a couple of bowstrings, and let's see, what else do we say? And then she kind of reaches into a pouch and says, "It's not much, and she hands you a couple of gold, and she says, "We're not a very rich town, but here you go." And she hands it to the group. So go ahead and add that to the group inventory.
How much?
2 gold.
Okay, that brings us to 6.
Yeah. Okay. And so, did you all want to do anything else in town? Did you want to rest, or did you want to head back to Ardenborn?
What's the time right now? You said it's evening-ish?
Yeah, it's like 10 p.m. It's nighttime. It's definitely nighttime.
Sounds like we should turn in then.
Rest up then.
Okay. So, telling them then that, or at least them hearing that you want to rest, they offer you a free room in the inn, again, a comped room, in the only tavern. It's a tavern, with rooms, like a boarding rooms. in the only tavern that's in town. They offer you a free room and board. It's it's modest, but it's fine. They're definitely not going to make you pay for that, given all the help that you've given the city or the town. So yeah, you guys rest. The night is uneventful. I don't suppose anybody wants to like go to the tavern or anything like that, or do you just want to turn in?
I'll turn in. It's been a long
Yeah.
day.
Turn in.
I'll also
Okay.
turn in.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So you all have an uneventful, restful night, and you get up the next day. And the search parties are well, let me just say first, probably just have a little bit of breakfast, again, given to you for free. Okay, Irene's gonna go ahead and heal the queen. And the queen, let's go to the queen for a second. She seems to have become incredibly docile after this. She doesn't seem interested in attacking anymore. She's still restrained, but she's not trying to get away. She's not trying to, fight back. Somebody may want to put themselves on mute. I hear some background noise. I think it's you, Jonno. And so, she doesn't seem to be trying to get away or trying to fight at all. She's also not talking. She has not said a word since the cave. And so, yeah, so you all managed to get everything together. And again, one last time, is there anything else you want to do in Mesawood, or do you want to head back to Ardenborn?
Ramune would just give a ration to the queen, or give her some food, and then be ready to head back. There wouldn't be anything else he'd want to do.
Yep.
Okay. You hand her the ration, and she doesn't seem interested in eating it. She looks at it and kind of like, touches it, but doesn't eat.
Can I get her some
She's a bee. She needs like nectar or something.
Yeah, that sugar water would probably be the closest thing.
Say it again, Jonno.
Like some water with some sugar, just to sustain her. That might be the closest thing.
Okay.
I will leave the ration there for her and leave my water skin there for her as well.
Okay. So I'm gonna say just that you're able to easily get that from the guy, like the tavern owner gives you like some water, some sugar, and some water. And you see her perk up as you bring it to her, but then she kind of sags back down and doesn't seem interested in eating or drinking that. But she doesn't push it away. She just kind of sags back down and doesn't respond. Okay. Anything else in town before you go? Okay, so I'm gonna say we're gonna head. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, would Toren want to do anything like hunting or getting extra supplies or protection against Phineas?
I mean, I think he might go to the outskirts and just see if he gets any game, like early in the... Maybe just do like a random roll.
Oh my god, he go hunting for rabbit.
Yeah, go ahead and roll. Let's see. Go ahead and roll survival for that. See if you get anything this morning. Okay. Okay. Let me see what he gets. I'm gonna roll for. See what he gets. Okay. So yeah. So he goes up early. Let's say Toren gets up early, like before everybody else gets up, before breakfast. Goes out looking for some game, and he manages to get a pheasant and pheasant, and I think that's all he's gonna be able to get based on my roll. Yep, he gets a pheasant, so not bad. Little medium-sized bird, enough to make a meal for maybe a couple of people. And he is able to bring that back to the inn.
Okay. Let me just double check something. Did I roll properly? I don't know if I did. Let me just try again real quick. I would just say, since we got the rooms and fed and everything for free, probably give it to the kitchen.
Okay.
As a token of thanks.
The kitchen is incredibly grateful for that. Even and when you give it to the innkeeper, he says, "Oh, thank you," and he says, "Yes. It's been quite hard for us to secure food, and the supply chains, as you can imagine, have dried up quite a bit, and so." And he kind of fishes in his pocket to pull out some silver, and he goes to hand you like 5 silver for the pheasant.
I guess I'll get Party to take that if he's trying to just do a gesture for them.
Say that again.
Any party input if Toren would even take that.
Probably not. He seems like he's generous to.
Yeah, on the up and up. Yeah. So he'll politely decline the silver and just say thank you for the hospitality and all.
Okay, so he takes it back and he says no, thank you, and he just emphasizes again that you have really helped the town, and just really appreciates it. You are really getting from all the townspeople that you speak to that they have, people are looking at you and waving. People are being very, very appreciative and grateful. This is like a very small town feel, and so they have really noticed your presence. And so just keep that in mind. All right. Anything else that you all wanted to do here?
I'm good.
Good. Okay, so I think we're going to head back to Ardenborn, right? Sounds like. Okay, roll. Okay, so as you all pack up your cart, pack up the queen. Again, she's kind of lethargic, but you kind of get the. Actually, go ahead and since you've been interacting with her a lot, Ramune, go ahead and roll perception. Okay. As you kind of kind of usher her by, carry her. Now, let me ask a question. Are you trying to kind of hide her a bit from people? You don't want people to see her, right?
Correct. I'm concealing her as Ramune feels a connection with her, looking like a monstrosity compared to everyone else. He is doing his best to try to conceal her. That's why he wanted to get the blankets, and he's trying to hide her, but he's also trying to comfort her and show her that it's okay. Things are okay.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so then I would assume you're just kind of carrying her along, kind of gently, or maybe ushering her along, but she's covered with the blanket. And you notice that she's kind of doing this, when you first started kind of ushering her along, she's doing kind of this, when little kids or dogs sometimes do this when they don't want to go anywhere, they go limp. And she was doing this limp body thing and making you drag her along. But now she seems to be cooperating a bit more. She's walking as you kind of usher her through, or as you carry her. She is accepting your gestures, but she also seems very lethargic, just tired. So we're gonna leave it at that. Okay, so it's pretty early morning. You all head back towards Ardenborn. It takes about half of I think I said a full day to get back. And the trip back is uneventful. These rules have been working for you guys. Trip back is uneventful. No attacks, no animals, nobody on the road. Little bit like a broken record, but going to remind you all, it is desolate. that is kind of unnerving to probably most of you, especially in contrast to the bustling roads that you would have seen coming to the Festival of Limitless Waters. People everywhere, merchants everywhere, etc. Okay. You head into Ardenborn, and it's, morning time ish. Where do you want to go? Where's the first place you'd like to go?
Ramune would want to go see the good doctor with the queen.
Yes,
Okay.
Probably.
Straight to Simic. Okay, good. Okay. So, knowing kind of the hour that you get there, you are able to, you know that Simic would already be in the office. So I'm going to have you head to his office. So I'll go there. Okay. And actually, let me drag the queen on. Now, I'm going to put the queen on the map. I know she's probably covered when you walk in. But I'm going to bring her to the map in just a second. She was definitely covered in town. Oh, ignore this. Am I on the right layer? I am. Come on. Sometimes I have trouble dragging these tokens on the map, but I'm not sure why. Interesting. Okay. You all see... let me try someone else.
You want to try
And
copy and paste?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do, because the dragging and dropping... I'm going back to the other map. The dragging and dropping was not working for me, so... Copy, paste. There we go. Okay, so she's next to Ramune, and she is currently covered up. Okay. All right. So as you walk in, and again, Ramune is ushering this queen with a blanket on. Nobody, at all knows you guys. This is like one of those places. People are busy. They're, doing their own thing. They're doing their own work, and they're just not really concerned. As you guys walk in, he's sitting at his desk, and he gets up and he says, "Oh," and he says, "Oh, well, oh my goodness, welcome back." And he says, "Thank goodness you're back." And he says, and he runs over to the door and shuts it and locks it, and then runs back and says, "I have to make sure we're not being disturbed." And he says, and he just seems like very, like, a little bit caught off guard that you all kind of came walking in with this creature. And he says, I just sent someone to Mesawood to go get you. And he says, "Oh, I just sent someone to Mesawood to go get you. Hold on." And he again walks to the door again. You hear him shout something down the hall, as in, tell them to stop or not to go. And then he comes back and he says, "So I'm guessing you're here to talk about Dr. Wei."
Yes, and of course the strange occurrences that we encountered as well.
Yeah, there's a big bee here.
And he kind of, do you show the queen yet? With Phineas's
I will stand next to her, and I will gently pull down, like, the hood part to show her face.
It's okay.
He looks at the... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Ramune will just say to her,
It's okay. The doctor here is a friend and he can help.
She looks at the doctor with, kind of wide eyes and doesn't say anything. Seems to be taking in what you're saying, but is, again, choosing not to respond in your estimation. He doesn't seem as interested in her, which is quite strange in this giant, humanoid bee, as you would expect, who's wearing a crown. He is distracted. And he looks at you all and he says, do you have any idea what could have happened to him?
From what we understand, when we went to investigate his house to see if he was there, we found three hired muscle break-in who had apparently been hired by who could communicate through one's mind, and also, which we discovered when one of the hired muscle tried to share too much with us. She can also deal damage and cause pain to minds of people as well, apparently at range. From what we gathered from Dr. Way's neighbors, and from realizing he had simply left in the middle of a meal with his dog unattended, he seemed to be bewitched or enchanted and not of himself, and he simply walked out of his house hours.
He pauses for a second, and then he walks back to his chair and he says, of course. You don't know. We found him.
Oh.
And he says, yes. That's why I had sent some people on a fast horse to go tell you all. I assumed you might be looking for him, although I didn't know if you had started yet. But yes. And then he kind of thinks about what Irene just said, and he says, we have a lot to discuss, but Irene, and he says, you're saying that someone saw him walk away and he seemed out of it?
Yes, unfocused, eyes glazed, he didn't respond to any of that sort of thing.
And he says that, yes. And he shakes his head slowly and he says, yes. And he says, I don't know what happened to him, but he seems to have, he's looking for the right word in his mind. Something has happened to his mind. Oh, let me not get ahead of myself. He was found last night by a merchant caravan, or last evening, and very fortunately he was found wandering around wearing only a thin shirt. It was quite cold, they said, and one shoe. Babbling incoherently, he was scratched, he was injured, and they stopped immediately, thank goodness. And they picked him up and they brought him here. They didn't know where else to bring him, and they were headed this way anyway. And fortunately, they were able to tell by his ID card that he had on his person that he was a scientist through the Alloria Conservation Alliance. And so they brought him to me, and he seems to have been unable to respond to any type of verbal communications. He doesn't seem to understand. He seems to be a bit of a vegetable. He's in the hospital unit right now, and he's going to be transported to Elowin soon. Elowin is the capital city for further care. Something happened to him, it seems. That somebody did this to him, and it's probably that person that you have mentioned. Is there any other information that you know about this person?
The only sorry, dogs. The only lead we have is it's apparently a female voice or
He says, I see. And he says, well, we're going to be, I'm not quite ready to report all of this to the government because once the government gets involved, well, any kind of does a little bit of a gesture. And he says, I'm very uncomfortable with how they're handling these events. I know I work for the government technically, but the way that they've been handling the situation is not to my liking. And then he kind of thinks again and he says, I suppose you haven't heard the latest from the Capitol? He looks at you all expectantly. Since you've been on the road.
Oh, I just raised an eyebrow.
And he says, of course not. I'm sorry. I apologize. And he says, there's a bill out in the government that would require all magic users, such as yourselves, to register, to submit their powers and their names and locations to a national registry. I am vehemently against this, he says with a rise of anger in his voice. And I think that it's a violation of rights, and we are lobbying against it. In fact, the Lorraine Conservation is breaking with the government and are rallying against this bill. Unfortunately, it does not have enough support in the government yet. But this is something that they are trying to pass right now. They're trying to lobby support. And then he looks at the bee and he says, and creatures like this need to be protected. It's not their fault that they have suddenly come into this world without understanding how to interact.
Oh, she wants to die.
She is not a creature. She is a person like us.
Yeah, she wants to die. I don't know, like...
Phineas, you're not helping.
And he looks at Phineas and he says, I suppose that I might want to die too if I had found myself in a foreign world in an unknown situation. We are not going to... We don't do that here. He says kind of angrily, and he says, thank you for bringing her to me. He kind of walks up to her and approaches her very gently, kind of tentatively. And he puts out his hand and he says, can you understand me? And she looks at him and she kind of shakes her head. And he says, we're not going to hurt you. And he kind of puts his hand out. And she surprisingly shrinks back towards Ramune, as if she doesn't want to leave Ramune's side. And he says, Ramune. And she says, you seem to have formed a bond with her. Can you tell her that we mean her no harm?
The doctor doesn't mean any harm. He helped me when I became like this. I have accepted who I am. But through his research, it allowed me to grow in both mind and body. But it also allows the good doctor to help find a way to reverse the process in time. You can trust him. You can trust me and Irene.
Yeah, you can trust me too.
do not trust him.
She's the one that asked to die. I'm not like going out here and fucking trying to murder her.
And he kind of looks at Ramune and kind of gives, Phineas, and gives, Dr. Simic looks at Phineas and gives him like a little warning, like look, like, please stop.
You
Type
guys
of
need to
look.
be more sympathetic to people. Like, geez, you guys are like very like. You guys need to like think about like put yourself in other people's shoes.
And Phineas, what would happen if you were physically transformed to look like something that is not normal to yourself, to find yourself in a world that is strange and foreign? Would you want someone to kill you?
If I wanted to die, yeah.
And
Ramune-
Dr.
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
There is nothing service to be gained by engaging with Phineas right now, or
Yeah, my logic's pretty sound, so
and you've voiced your logic several times. There's nothing more to be gained, as you were saying, Ramune, Dr. Simic.
Dr. Simic looks at Ramune and says, yes, and we can all agree that that's not going to be happening, so let's move on. And he reaches out to the Queen Bee again, and he kind of says, that's a lovely crown you have there. And she seems to kind of respond to that. And she then moves towards him, and he says, okay. And he says, and he looks at her and he looks at you all kind of, and he says, I think that we can unbind her. And he kind of looks at you guys, kind of asking permission.
Ramune will take out a short sword and cut the bindings.
Okay.
I never asked. I am Ramune. What is your name?
And she looks at me and she says, have no name.
May I gift you one?
And she says, yes.
I think the name Lily would suit you after the flower.
What was the name you said?
Lily.
Lily, okay. And she says, Lily. And you see like kind of a bit of a smile. She doesn't seem very happy, but a little bit of a smile. And she says, and she puts her hand to her chest and she says, I'm Lily. I'm Lily. And she does like a little kind of flutter and kind of tests her wings out to see they still work. And rises up off the ground just a little bit and then lowers herself back down again.
So were you like originally a bee or like a person?
She kind of looks at Phineas and doesn't really seem to want to respond to that question. And stands back by Ramune. And she doesn't really seem to want to talk anymore. So Dr. Simic kind of pats Lily on the back and then he walks back over to his chair. And he says, I'm sure that Lily will tell us her story in time. Let's not rush it. It's probably very painful for her to talk about. And then he says, I did want to mention a couple of other things, if that's okay. The government has decided to shut down all cities and restrict travel, and unfortunately that goes into effect, well, it is in effect, outside of very small towns. And so your travel may be a little bit limited. However, the good news, he said, was that anticipation of this happening weeks ago, I've already put in for some government contractor passes for myself a official pass for you and for some of my other employees. Or I'm sorry, he says he put in an official pass for himself, and then he put in official passes for various other contractors that he has. So several, different types of passes. He says, I anticipated this happening weeks ago, and so I should have your passes in a couple of days, and you can travel freely after that. I don't have any current projects for you all, but there are some issues that some of our merchants in the city have had that I think you all may be uniquely qualified to handle if you so choose. They will allow you to stay in the area and help out some people and make some money. I did take the liberty of telling them that you might be interested, but it is up to you to go out and speak to them on your own if these are things that interest you. If they don't, though, you will just need to hang low for a couple of days until I get your passes. And he says, I could tell you more if you wish to hear about some of these things that have been happening around town.
Oh, Doctor, before I forget, and Irene will pull out, it's only been a day, so she should still have the two jars of one dead and one alive of the wasp that were from the field.
Okay.
I realized with things going, it's almost slipped my mind, but yes, here's what we actually set out to get for you.
Okay. And he takes the jars, he looks at them, and he says, "Oh, are these from the swarms?"
Yes. The disturbances were actually a collective swarming of wasps with quite erratic behavior.
And he says, "Oh, that's very, very clever of you to get a live sample. Yes, we will. Thank you. This will be very helpful." And it is so live. He kind of puts the jars on his table, and he kind of looks at them, and he's kind of like, you see that he's kind of trying to look, just visually see if he can, notice anything about their behavior, or the live one, at least the behavior of the live one at the moment. And he kind of shakes his head. He's like, interesting. It's not quite flying right. And he says, well, okay, we will definitely study these. And he kind of pushes them aside, and he says, all right, well, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I must be getting back to work soon.
Oh, this is the scepter, by the way, this thing.
And he takes it from you, and he says, and he kind of looks at it, and he says, Lily, does this belong to you? And he holds it up in front of him, and then he starts to hand it back to her.
Oh, don't! She tried to kill us with that.
And he says, "Oh," and he takes it back, and he says, Lily doesn't seem to be reaching for it at all, and he just kind of puts it aside. He says, "Okay, well, I'll take care of it for you, Lily." And he takes it, and he puts it. He goes back to this box. He unlocks it. He sticks it in there, and he locks it. And he says, "She was using this as a weapon?"
She used it to summon bees, I think, big bees.
And
bees the size of the horse.
And his eyes go wide, and he says, "Really?" And he says, "Lily," and he looks at Lily, and he says, "It sounds like you're quite a talented young bee there." And he says it in a complimentary way, and he says, "Very powerful." And he shakes his head, trying to warm her, kind of trying to warm her up and compliment her a bit. And again, she's not responding. She doesn't look sad or upset anymore, but she just seems to be kind of taking it in a very neutral way at the moment. Not ready to quite like have a conversation with him, but seems content per se. And he looks at her and he says, "We'll work on getting this back to you, Lily, but not quite yet. I'm sure you understand that you didn't meet under the best of circumstances." And Lily, with her first kind of her closest acknowledgement to what has happened, kind of shakes her head slowly and acceptingly, and then looks straight ahead. And he says, "Okay." And he says, "We'll talk to her and we'll see if she'll be willing to talk more about this." And he looks at the group and he says, "Is there anything else you wanted to talk about that could help us with Dr. Wei, or did you want to hear about possibly the town problems that we've been experiencing?"
I would like to hear about the town problems and how we can help.
And he says, "Okay, well, you may want to go to these vendors to get more information. They are quite successful businesses, so they will pay well." He says, kind of with a bit of an air of encouragement, and he says, "I know that they have been trying to find people to help them, but nobody's willing to go out." And then he says, "The local furrier has been having trouble with bandits, actually. Since the world has become what it is, she says that bandits have been striking with more often because they're kind of using the backdrop of the danger of the aggressive animals to target innocent merchant caravans. And she told me that since the event, they have lost 2 caravans on their way to Ardenborn. So that's all I know about that. The second person that I spoke with is the local weaver. She has quite a large sheep farm, and she has noticed that since the event, her sheep have been being slaughtered. However, they have not been able to find the source of these kills. They have tried to observe, they have tried to observe from a distance, but as you may imagine, they don't want to get too close. And so you may want to go speak with her. Her name is Darla, and the furrier's name is Abby, and they're both in town. And he says, of course, my home remains your place to stay, so feel free to settle in. And then he says, now, I apologize to say, but I really do need to get back to work, and I need to get Lily settled here. So we can talk later tonight?
Sure.
And he says, okay. And he says, I'm kind of chasing you away a bit, but if you need anything, of course, come back. And he kind of like settles back down on his desk and kind of writes something down. And then he says, can you stay with Lily for a moment? And he walks out of the room and brings in a couple of, like assistants and stuff like that, who walk up to her and very gently and with a lot of care, they don't put her in a cage, but they both kind of stand and kind of hold her arms. She seems reluctant to step away from Ramune, but they do kind of coax her, and she walks with them, and they gently usher her out of the room. They also take the jars with them, and they take her away. And Dr. Simic explains that she's going to be taken to the same kind of, area where the wolf was taken, as you know. All right, so you all are asked to, very nicely, to let him get back to his work. What would you like to do?
Probably just head out.
Okay. Did you want to head? So you can go around town and do things around town. You can head to the furrier. You can head to the weaver. You can go back to his house. The day is pretty open for you now. He has no assignments for you. The only restriction that you have is that you just can't really travel outside of the city very far because of the government restrictions. Like I said, we'll be lifted in a couple of days. You can also just wait a couple of days if you want. But, that's kind of where you're at. So.
Oh, yeah. Do we get paid for the insects?
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. He would pay you. Thanks for reminding me. He would have paid you. How much? Let me look at my contracts. Party resources. Okay, so he's going to pay you. Yeah, it's not on the list. So okay, so what's on the list? But still, it was part of the it was an animal that exhibited strange behavior, so he's going to pay you 5 gold each, and he's also going to give you a bonus of 5 gold for bringing back the live samples. All right, now what would you like to do?
So we just give each 5 gold?
Yeah, 5 gold per person.
Okay.
And a group bonus of 5 gold for bringing back the live samples. So if you want to, add that to the group loot probably. Unless you guys want to just split that, one each, or you can add it to the group loot, whichever way y'all want to do it. But that's like a group.
I'd say just put it to the group loot.
Yeah, I'm fine with adding to the group loot.
Okay, cool. All right, so what did you guys want to do? So did you want to go to either, we're almost out of time, so we probably have enough, if you wanted to go to like one of the, again, you don't have to do this, but if you wanted to go to either of the town things, you could probably have time to talk to one of them.
Yeah, would this be a good spot to end the session? I got like a really bad headache. And...
Oh, yeah, let's stop here. Okay, no problem. All right, so we'll stop here, and I will see you guys next week.
All right, thank you for the session.
Oh, I hope you feel better.
Yeah.
I feel bad now. All right, bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
See you guys next week.
Right.
Peace.
They have those soup kitchens? It still kills me. Oh, dude. Oh, Cody, I'm so happy you went full bear. That was so dope.
Yeah. I finally had the tokens ready and everything, so I found a good time.
The AC sucks, but that multi-attack and the damage, ooh, those are juicy.
Yeah, and it's got 38 HP, and the wild shape comes back on a short rest, so it's not really a disadvantage much at all having the low AC.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think with the exception of Irene, I think all of us get stuff back on short rests.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize I was muted. Yeah, must be nice, right? Whoa.
Well, Phineas, he gets like 2 spell slots, and that's it. Me, I have my action surge. Cody has his wild shapes for it. Toren being a ranger.
He's a fighter as well. He has action.
Oh, I did not know he was a fighter.
Yeah,
I keep thinking he's a ranger for some reason.
No, 2 fighters in the group. Yeah.
I wonder if he's strength or dex base.
He's got like a +1 to all his stats.
Okay, so kind of a jack of all trades.
Yeah, he has +1 to everything, but a +2.
A +2 to what again? Con, right?
Constitution. He's a meaty boy.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, his damage mod is a +1 if you ever look at it.
Oh wow, yeah.
Cody.
But he has the distance fighting thing, so his 2-hit is like it's basically fine. So it's
I'm
like
gonna
+5
jump
or something.
across to Vitalis to pick Erica's brain for a sec.
Okay.
Terror.
But yep, I am gonna drop. I'll see you guys next Sunday.
Yes, indeed.